What does it mean to be forged in the flames? An unshackling and unbecoming of who you are so that you can step into your motherfucking power and what it is that you know at a soul level, you can feel it in your heart. Every fiber of your being is like, we are here to do this thing. I want to talk to you about what it means to be forged in the flames. I have so much energy around this right now. Like, I went from like chilling, doing some things behind the scenes, working on some things, to all of a sudden needing to stand up. We've got the ring light out with the stand going on because I was like, there's no way I can sit down and like have this conversation with you. So I want to have this conversation. I also want to talk to you about a song that I have had on repeat for like a month. It's a song that I've always loved, but for some reason it has just hit differently lately, and I'm like, oh, I get it. And it might be because I just went to the concert too. And I got a guitar pick. That's another story. I'll probably get to that. But I want to talk about what it means to be forged in the flames. And I want to share with you my perspective on this, but also I want to share with you a little bit of a story as well, because I feel like that sometimes, especially as entrepreneurs or healers, or, you know, when you are out there in the world and you are supporting people through their own rising or their own healing that they're doing, that sometimes we grasp on to the things that we had been through and it becomes a part of who we are. And I want to shift this perspective. I want to make sure also that I'm not going to like trip on my thing and die. Like, you guys are going to go tumbling down and be like, sorry. Okay, so sometimes we grasp onto the things that we have been through and we make them a part of who we are instead of making ourselves the victor of the story. And I find it really fascinating because this is something I found myself doing as well, where I was sharing, or I had been repeating something that I had been through my mind, and being so proud of like how far I had come and what it was that I'd been through and the flames that I walked through to get to where I was. And like, look, you cannot burn somebody that has been through the flames. Once you have been forged in the flames, there is no going back. Like, there's no going back. There's nothing that anybody can do to you. Nothing that anyone can do to you to knock you off your rocker. Like, you're flying so fucking high that it's just like, it's not even possible. I'm not even touchable. And when you throw the gasoline on, it's like, watch me fucking rise. Because when you throw gasoline on somebody that has been forged in the flames, that is built in the fire, what happens? It's a fucking wildfire. You just spread. Your energy spreads. You continue to expand. You continue to rise, and you cannot be contained. And I don't want you to be contained. The world doesn't need you to be contained. And so what I realized was that I was looking at what I had been through from a story of like, I had been a victim. And the truth was, I was. Like, hello, modern day witch hunt. And also I was like, but where is the part of the story where I rise? Where is the part of the story that I am the victor? Where is the part of the story where this is mine? This is mine. No one can take this from me. And so I want to share with you a little bit about the story. And I want you to just reflect on some of the things that you've been sharing as someone that is showing up online, or even some of the things that, as you reflect on some of the really like hard things that you had been through, or really difficult or challenging times and things that you had been through. And I want you to like flip the perspective to where you are the one that's winning. You won. You survived. Look at you fucking rise. So in 2022, the fall of 2022, I went through a situation, a full-on tower moment, if you know, you know. During eclipse season, literally the poster child of eclipse season. And I lit the match on my 6-figure healing business and I burned it to the ground. I was like, I've got to walk away. I made this decision not from fear, fear is the only word that's coming through. Not from fear. It wasn't from fear. It was a logical decision that I knew I needed to make. And it didn't come out without speaking with lawyers, without speaking with my husband, who was my ride or die. It didn't come without speaking with my coach at the time and like really making a logical decision on what was the best way to move forward. And when I did this, I was like, okay, in order for me to stay in alignment with my morals, ethics, and values, I knew I had to burn that piece of my business down and I needed to move forward. And in the perspective of probably until about 6 months ago, I was looking at it from the perspective of this is what I did. And I was literally, I went from my biggest spiritual awakening, however many years ago, whatever that was, like 7 or 8 or whatever, doesn't matter. But I went through my biggest spiritual awakening, went from like having anxiety and depression and healing that shit and like not even like experiencing anxiety and like overwhelm and like depression wasn't even really a thing that I had been experiencing anymore. However, when that situation happened, I was thrown into a tailspin. And it was so interesting to me because I went from not experiencing anxiety, not experiencing panic attacks or overwhelm or depression or, really any sadness or fear or anything like that to full on panic attacks in the shower at 1 a.m., crying on the bathroom floor. My husband literally getting in there, fully clothed, like holding me like, I need you to breathe. I felt like even though it was a decision I knew I need to make, and even though I was confident about the decision, it was a logical next step. And also I knew, like, you know when you're being guided to do something, and if you don't, the floor is like fucking ripped from underneath you, and you're like, and your spirit guides are like, bitch, I told you. I've given you the neon lights and you have not been paying attention, so here you go. And I still look back and I'm like, I see some of those signs and I'm like, I don't even really know what it was. But anyway, so I digress. I was literally feeling like this is not the ending. This is the beginning. But it didn't change what was going on inside of my mind and inside of my body. It didn't change the thought or it was almost like my unconscious mind went on all cylinders and it was like, girl, we are not okay. We are not safe. Alert, alert, alert. And then different things during the upcoming year, different things had come up during this modern day witch hunt of a spiritual group of people that were like throwing up red flags. But I want to say, and give me an emoji or tell me if you've ever felt like this too, especially as we've already done a lot of healing work or you do a lot of healing work, that it's like, it doesn't take us long to realize that it's like, okay, we've got to do something different. What I'm doing isn't working. And even though I was having those panic attacks, I was like, I got to move forward. I got to do something. And instead of looking at it from the perspective of this is me on the floor, on the bathroom floor at 1 a.m., hyperventilating, having panic attacks, anxiety every single day, not able to sleep. When I look back at the 6 months that had followed, even though I was doing some deep healing work, I noticed that I even gained weight. So it was reflecting in my physical body. And so it's really crazy some of the things that start to happen in our physical body, in our physical worlds, when we are feeling that fear, when we are feeling the imposter syndrome, when we are feeling I dare to say that anxiety is really stemming from fear, which is really stemming from your mind trying to keep you safe. It's literally just trying to keep you safe. But instead of me having this perspective of this is what was happening after this happened, something shifted recently. I would say within the last 6 months that I was like, actually, this is where, yes, I was forged in the flames, but also this is where the door fucking opened. And I knew at the time that I was being redirected, even though the situation that I had gone through was really hard. I also knew it was a door opening. It was a new beginning. And everything that I had wanted to do, I loved what I was doing, but everything that I had wanted to do, I actually started to do. I actually started clearing and healing. And yes, Selena says, you need the darkness to actually shine, just like the stars or the moon. Absolutely. You know what's really fascinating? Sometimes that light seems so far away. I'm just having this visual come up. Sometimes that light seems so far away that we don't even see it. So depending on what kind of phone you have, I think probably most phones do this now, but on my Android, I can zoom in on the moon. You can literally see the craters. Literally see the craters. It is crazy. However, I can't zoom in on the stars. You get so far and then there's not enough light to be able to see them. I can see them with my eye, but I can't zoom in on my phone because I'm too far away from those stars. And sometimes we don't actually see the light that is actually there. And sometimes we need to zoom in to be able to see it more, or we need to zoom out and see the bigger picture. And oftentimes what happens is when we are experiencing, those moments of walking through the fire, of walking through the ashes, it's like, holy crap. I'm so in this that it feels like it's in my face. But when we zoom out, we're like, okay, I actually can see the bigger picture. And that's exactly what happened, was like, actually there was a door opening. Actually, this is where I rise. Actually, this is my rising phoenix moment. Actually, I'm being forged in the flames. Actually, you can pour the gasoline on me and you cannot fucking touch me, because I will only expand. I will only get louder. Like when you pour gasoline on flames, what happens? And I just talked about this, but like what happens? The crackling gets louder, the roaring goes whoo, right? Like hear me roar. And so these were that moment was such a pivotal turning point for me. And it was also like when I was like, I wonder what would happen if I actually combine like the spiritual side of the healing work that I'm doing with the unconscious mind, like with the human experience. And that's why I got trained in RRT, rapid resolution therapy, because it blew, like no pun intended, but it literally blew my fucking mind. I was like, what did you just do to me? After like, we weren't even on a call for 2 hours. It was a 2-hour session, but we weren't even on a call for 2 hours. When she asked me to access that feeling, I was like, I'm going to have a full-blown panic attack. She's like 3 seconds in down. I was like, okay. And I was like, and then in like 90 minutes, she's like, okay, I want you to try to access the feeling. And I was like, to this day, I literally still can't. That was beginning of 2023. I still can't access it. I have no idea. And that is the power of the mind, and being able to have access to that clarity, logic, intuition, power, creativity. So I want to circle back to this song. So you guys follow me long enough, you'll know I am a rock girl. I love my rock music. My favorite band on this planet is Shinedown, and top 5, definitely Papa Roach is in there. I've been, like, I joke with my husband, I was like, I've been in a relationship with Papa Roach longer than I've been in a relationship with you. And I think that's true with Shinedown too. I have to think about what year they came out, but but I'm like, sorry, I love them. They've been in my car with me for years, babe. But anyway, I love rock music. So recently my husband and I just went to a concert that I fully manifested. I was like, man, I would love to see these guys. And then on the way home, I was like, oh my God, guess who's playing here? And I was like, buy tickets. And so the headliner was Asking Alexandria, but the band I want to talk about is MF'N POWER. I actually got a guitar pick from both of them. That is something I do as well every time I go to a concert. This next one, I'm not 100% sure. It depends on, if I have my way, we'll get really close, but I don't know if Matt will let us because we're taking the kids. But anyway, I digress. I just am like a collector of drumsticks and guitar picks. And one time the new lead singer from the band Hinder Lips of an Angel. I think pretty much everybody knows that song. Took my phone at the rally. Just let me know if you want to see that video and I will send it to you. He literally took my phone at a concert and sang into it and was like showing the crowd and stuff. It was so cool. But anyway, so this song called Misery by MF'N POWER. I used to jam out to this song as soon as it came out. I was like, this song is badass. And my oldest son, Austin, who is now 16, which is crazy, and I would jam out to it. But in the past month or so, and I think it's probably because I've been really like, I drove back into like all of their songs. That's just what I do. Before I go to a concert, I want to know everybody's songs because I'm there to sing to it. I want to be part of that experience and singing with the crowd and them, right? And so this part in this song is, and I'm going to pull up the lyrics too, because I want to share with this how this is resonant with our own journeys and our own like healing journeys as well, and what it means to be forged in the flames. So let me share with you my perspective of what it means to be forged in the flames. And I know like Selena being in the mini mind, and like anyone that's been in like the Untamed Healer mini mind or the Rising Phoenix, even I think I talk about this in the Evolution membership, where it's just like, it is an unshackling and unbecoming. And this is mostly inside of the Rising Phoenix because we strip away a lot of different layers from past lives, generational trauma, like this lifetime, like all of it, right? And so it is an unshackling and unbecoming everything, all the society bullshit from this lifetime and lifetimes before. What does that mean? It is a literal clearing and healing the shit that doesn't serve you. And being forged in the flames is being unafraid, knowing that this path might actually be something that we've got to work through. It might be something that requires us to do something radically different, and it makes us who we are. There's so many things that you can think of that when you put into the flames, something beautiful comes out of it. And this is why I love the Phoenix so much, because they go in and they just shatter the barriers and they fly above, and so much power and so much beauty, and it's like unfucking touchable. It's untouchable. And when we're forged in the flames, we're literally burning away anything that's not serving you. And we think about also, when you think about flames too, this is like, especially when I'm doing like energy healing, if you guys know energy work, if you do Reiki, I know a lot of styles have something similar to fire. Inside of my style of Reiki, quantum illumination Reiki, there is a key that feels hot like fire. And this is resonant of burning away anything that doesn't serve you. This is also giving you life, like life force energy. Because when we strip away everything that doesn't serve us, what's left before you? What's left of you? The soul essence of who you are and what it is that you're here to do. And it's almost like unafraid. It's like that naked and unafraid to be seen as who you are. And I don't actually mean like no clothes naked, but like, I mean like letting the world see who you are at the core, no longer carrying the weight of the other people, of past life trauma, of generational wounds, of the things that we've been through in this lifetime. And I mean, I think that this work is never done, but we're not always a project to work on, right? We're not always just some project, like go live your life. Be part of this human experience, like go be present, go do something. But like, seriously, but also it's like, sometimes we meet the barrier. Sometimes we need to raise the floor. Sometimes we meet that ceiling of resistance and we need to raise the floor and shatter the barrier. We need to continue to rise and rise and rise, and you will. But because we are forged in the flames, it gets easier. And things that bothered us don't take as long anymore. And we become more resourced, and we understand that it is safe to be seen. It is safe to be supported. It is safe to be supported. Let me say that again. The coven was never meant to be alone. Link arms and rise together. So that's for me is what it means to be forged in the flames. And that's what we do inside of this community. Inside of, if you're here, that's what we do. Like we don't do this alone. We link arms and we rise together. We look at the flames, we walk through the ashes, and we rise above. And we do it together. And we're not fucking afraid because we are not doing it alone. We might be a little bit afraid. There might be a little bit of fear, but we know that we are resourced to move through it. So let me just expand this a little bit. I've got my laptop next to me with the lyrics. I was literally jamming out to this song and I was like, that's it, I'm going live. Okay, so I love this song because it can be seen in so many different ways that it can be seen in a way of like I'm going through hell, but also it can be seen in a way as like remade in misery. And I want to talk about motivation. Selena. I want to talk about motivation. So it's like he says, when we go through hell, that's when we know ourselves. So nothing left to lose at rock bottom. Wounds turn to scars. Yeah, I got them. But I've come to learn you've got to let it burn if you're going to be forged in the fire. Let it burn away. Let the things that had been through, that you had walked through hell, burn away. And he says, when I go through hell, it's when I know myself. And all the lies that I believe are digging me a grave. But when I go through hell, that's where I find myself. And this song has just like brought me so much life because I'm like, oh, what a fucking genius in how he said this. Because I don't even know how old this song is. When did this song come out? Let me see when this album came out. Maybe. 2022. The irony of that based on my story. But anyway, here, and let me pull those lyrics back up. When we go through those really hard things, and not that we have to go through something really hard to find ourselves. And we got a whole nother riff on finding, because you are not lost. You are not some keys lost in a couch or some spare change hiding under the seat in your vehicle to be found. You're not found. It is an unbecoming of everything. An unshackling of the societal bullshit and everything that I've been saying stripped away. It is a becoming of who you are. It's not a finding yourself. That phrase always confuses me because I'm like, that doesn't even make sense. I'm not lost, so I can't be found. I know exactly where I am. So anyway, I digress. Let me get back on subject here. So when we go through hell, that's where I find myself. When we go through those hard things, this is our opportunity to strip it away. We go through those hard things and we really discover who we are. We really discover the healing that we're possible of doing for ourselves. We discover the support systems that we have. We discover the ways that we can heal ourselves, where we're resourced, the people that are in our corner, the things that we no longer believe, the things that we don't stand for, the things that we will not stand for anymore. And so whether or not you like rock, I encourage you to go listen to this song. It's called Remade in Misery by MF'N POWER. Actually, I'm sorry. The album is called Remade in Misery. The song is called Misery. And just listen to the lyrics and see how it lands for you. And I encourage you to think about what it is that you had been through that you're like, yeah, that was definitely a door that I had that was opening for me, even though the situation that I went through was really fucking hard, right? But where's your opportunity to flip it, to see it differently? Whereas even though you knew, like, yeah, that situation was hard, and now I know that, and even in the moment I knew a door was opening for me, but instead of seeing like those moments in time of what it was that you had been through, even if it was part of your story, how can you see it differently? How can you see it as, I am the victor. I am the flames. I am the motherfucking storm. And this is where I rose. This is where I rise. This was my moment. And I knew it. And I faced it. And I allowed them to continue to pour the gasoline on me, and it didn't even matter. Didn't even matter, because I became forged in the flames. And so what was that for you? And really just think about that. And I know what I also want to say, and I don't know why I'm feeling called to say this, but I'm just going to say this as well. If it was something that was traumatic that had happened in your life, make sure that you're supported before you start diving into that. I really want to encourage that. Even if you're someone that does like trauma support or anything like that. And I definitely encourage having somebody in your corner as you're going through that. I know for me, there's no way that I could have gone at what it was that I went through alone. For me, that was our RT. Hire an RT specialist. If you need a situation, depending on, or if you need support with RRT, definitely shoot me a message and I can see if it's something that I can support you with. And if not, I will refer you out, because I know what it is that I can do, and I know what other people are experts in as well. So we can definitely get you supported. But I just want to drop that in, because when we're going through some of those really hard things that we had been through, it can get, sometimes our emotions and the sensations in our body can take over, and we don't want you to go through that alone. Okay. So what does it mean to be forged in the flames for you? And if you're live with me, you can comment that below. I'll post this on my timeline. If you're watching the replay, make sure that you comment and tell me what it is, even if you have to go journal on it or meditate on it or think about it, step into awareness of it, and let me know what it means to be forged in the flames for you. What does it mean to walk through the ashes for you? What does it mean to rise above the flames for you? And what is the freedom that it gives you? If you were to rise above all the societal bullshit, all the generational trauma, all the past life shit that we carried into this lifetime, we carried some really good stuff too. But what would it mean for you to strip that away? What would that look like for you? What would you do in your life if those things were no longer part of you? They were no longer shackled to you. Then what? Then what would you do? How would you show up? Who would you be? Where would you get supported? What would you launch? Where would you expand in your business? What would you do? Like, what would you do? And I want you to tell me. I want you to tell me. And if you're still watching, like, obviously you have to tell me now. Before I hop off here, I wanna go into, like, there is fear, yeah. Like, this is part of the human experience. Yes, so many good questions. Where else would be motivating us? I want to encourage you, and this is, so let me share with you from an RRT perspective, rapid resolution therapy perspective. So if you're new here, I combine the spiritual and the subconscious mind. So this is my grounded spiritual approach. Specifically, I have the quadfecta method, meaning we combine energetics mastery, energy healing, spirituality, including your spiritual abilities and tools, as well as the subconscious mind and subconscious reprogramming. And so within the subconscious mind, this is where I come through with like the NLP, but also more specifically, I utilize the RRT perspective because it has changed my life so freaking much. So this is what I want to riff on with this. I want to suggest to you that fear is, how do I want to say this? Give me just a second. Okay, Selena, I know you've heard this one, so hang with me, but anybody else, if you've heard me say this before, I want you to just hang with me because I'm going to share with you why in just a second. Fear is not something that's useful for us. And I'm also going to share with you the motivation, how to create motivation. So when we have fear, actually, let me backtrack. I'm going to share with you what happens when we have fear too. So I want you to pretend like we're on a safari. We are in my firecracker red Jeep Mud Puppy, and doors are off, tops off. That's naked. So naked Mud Puppy. We are out in a safari. We're completely safe. We're away from all the animals, but we are just driving along. We're enjoying the views. We come up on some zebras and we're enjoying watching them grazing. We've got babies, we've got mamas and daddies, and they're just like slow and chill and just enjoying like their slow graze, right? And so we're watching the zebras and I'm like, hey, do you see that? Look at that little baby. And then all of a sudden, as we're sitting there, the zebras take off running. And I'm like, holy crap, what just happened? Like they went from like chill grazing to taking off running. And so we're looking around, we're like, what the hell just happened? I'm like, I tap you again. I'm like, oh, there's a lion. Do you see the lion? The lion made them run. And because we're homies and you're kind of a smartass like I am, you're like, girl, the lion did not make the zebras run. And though I know you're messing with me, I actually understand that you're making sense. Because the zebra didn't run because of the lion. So the lion didn't make zebra run. A facet of zebra's mind made zebra run. See, what happened was zebra's mind determined that there was a threat, and so it activated so it could run really fast and take off running. Okay, so we watch this whole thing unfold, and then I'm like, holy crap, we're like driving along, everything ended, and we go up to a watering hole and we see the zebras, and I walk up to Mama Zebra and I'm like, whoa, did you see the size of that lion? And she's like, what lion? So what's really fascinating with this is that for zebras, for animals, it turns on when it's useful and it turns off when it's not. So we as humans have the same thing. It turns on when it's useful. However, we have this really cool thing called memory, recollection, where we can remember thoughts from the past, and also imagination. So we can see things that haven't even happened yet. We can imagine, we can pretend, right? Things that haven't even happened yet. And we can pull those memories in, or that imagination in, as if it's happening right now, but it's not happening because it doesn't exist. And so when we stand in that knowledge, here's what happens with mind. Mind floods. When I say mind, I mean subconscious mind or unconscious, all interchangeable, okay? So mind floods body. So brain goes from, let me backtrack. Blood goes from brain, drops down into body, so into your arms and your legs, so you can run really fast. Not super useful in 2024. Don't know about you, but not trying to outrun any lions. Don't know about you, but I'm not trying to outrun any saber-tooth tigers. And so what happens when blood drains from our brains to our limbs? It's useful when we want to run really fast. It's not really useful when we want to be logical. And so when there's a situation that had been causing fear, If it's activating energy, it's activating that energy so you can run really fast, or it will go to your jaw so you can lunge forward and bite flesh. I don't know about you, but I've never bit the flesh of somebody because I was afraid, or I found it really useful to bite flesh. And so blood drains from brain to jaw to bite flesh, or to arms and legs to run really fast. Because of this, because it is draining, we lose access to our logic, power, creativity, intuition. And what I love for you is to have more access to logic, creativity, power, intuition, joy, ease, bliss, all of these things that make the human experience so amazing. So it's like, okay, cool, that sounds cool with the human or the animal kingdom, but we're also experiencing these fears because some facet of your mind is determining that what had been happening was a threat. So it's trying to get you to take action. We don't want to take action from that energy because it's coming from a space that we're not having full access to our logic, creativity, clarity, intuition, power, joy, etc. How do we know, like, have you ever heard someone say, careful what you say when you're mad because you tend to say things you don't mean? Why is that? I witness this sometimes in my own family, in my own four walls. Look, just because I do this stuff doesn't mean I'm not human. And so this, like, that's a great example of when we're angry, anger, same, fear, same, we're not having access to our logical mind. So how do we create motivation? Motivation is not something someone was born with and someone was not. Some people aren't just lucky in the motivation department, and you're shit out of luck in the motivation department. So how do we create motivation? Selena, I know you have Alchemize, so you can definitely tap into what is it called? It's motivation and well, anyway, I do a subconscious reprogramming. Ooh, yeah, definitely tag me on that. So I can't remember what it is, but it's a subconscious reprogramming to create motivation energy in your body, and to support you in doing that. But how we create motivation is something you create. So do this if you want to create motivation. What is one thing that will feel good to have done and is possible to do? One thing that will feel good to have done and is possible to do. And now what I want you to do is, once you have that in, I'm sensing that somebody might need to hear something on overwhelm. And if that is you, comment below and I will do a whole nother live on clearing overwhelm. And if you have Alchemized, you can go tap into that audio and you can get that cleared as well. So one thing that will feel good to have done and is possible to do. And then once you have that one thing, I want you to step into the energy of it's already done. It's complete. How will it have felt that it's already done? It's done. Now that you have that energy in your body, now I want you to go do the thing. Go do the thing that you desire to do. Once you've done that one thing, your next step is, I've done that one thing. Now you've created momentum because you've done the thing. Now it's like, cool, what's one more thing to do? One more thing that will feel good to have done and is possible to do. And then go do that. And that is how we're creating the energy of motivation. We're creating that by moving the target closer and doing one thing. It will feel great to have written the book, but maybe today I just need to write a paragraph. Maybe today I just need to write a page. I can hear my puppy out there. So let me know how this landed. Let me know what it means to be forged in the flames. Comment and tell me. I will put this on my timeline. I'm also going to pop this into my podcast because this one took a whole nother turn that I didn't even know was going to happen, which is amazing. I'm so here for this. And this is exactly the kind of work that we do inside of the Rising Phoenix, where we take this grounded spiritual approach and we strip away, we unshackle, unbecome. We walk through the flames together. We burn away the witch wound, the imposter syndrome, the fears, the limiting beliefs, the money limitations, so that you can stand into your mother effing power, so you can do what it is that you know that you're here to do. So you can show up confidently on video, showing your face, but also creating. I just had one of my Rising Phoenix clients tell me she just published her second book. She was in the first round, and this wasn't even a year ago that she finished the first round of the Rising Phoenix. And she's published 2 books. She went from hiding in the broom closet, growing up being the good girl, don't be seen and heard, or be quiet because that's what good girls do, don't rock the boat. Also, imposter syndrome, like chasing the certifications to prove and validate what it is that she already knew, to now she's published 2 books. Her last one was just published in the last 48 hours. She is blowing up on TikTok. She is now a meditation teacher on Insight Timer. She is almost complete with her yoga instructor of the 200 hours. She is getting ready to launch her first huge signature program. Like, she's just on fire. The clarity just keeps dropping in, and she's collapsing time and manifesting. I just posted a video. If you want to go check out her story, is so good. She's blowing my mind. And that is exactly what happens. That's what happens when we walk through the flames, when we link arms and we rise together, when we drop the things that are no longer serving us, unshackling, unbecoming, and stepping into your mother effing power. So if you want information about the Rising Phoenix, DM me Rising Phoenix. Let me know how this supported you. I cannot wait. And I just know, and what I'm sensing is that you're already having a shift. Things are already moving forward. So step into awareness of what's different in terms of thought and feeling as you're moving forward over the coming days, and let me know. Slide into my DMs and let me know. And I will talk to you guys very soon. Bye.